Healthy Rebel Radio is sponsored by the Healthy Rebel app. 300 plus secretly healthy, delicious, mouth-watering dessert and treat recipes made with all-natural, whole food ingredients. Now available for download on the App Store and Google Play. Find out more details at healthyrebel.com.
Welcome to Healthy Rebel Radio. I'm your host, Dr. David Dyser. I'm here with my Gaming Health Healthy Rebel co-founder, Amy Lane. Good morning.
Good morning.
Today on the show, we're talking about weight loss plateaus. What are they? How do you break through them? When do they occur? Let's go over some of the common ones. I mean, I know that Amy and I have talked about this before. We really think they're broken into two categories. One mental, emotional, one physical.
And
Tell me a bit about what you think of... Yeah, sorry, go ahead, but what do you think of weight loss plateaus and the categorization of each?
Well, I think that saying weight loss plateau is like just a way of describing a stalemate, but plateaus aren't real. Boom.
Boom.
Plateaus,
I know you've had that opinion for a long time. Plateaus don't exist.
They don't.
It's not.
They don't, because I in my life used that excuse for a really long time. The reality is, plateau, if you're experiencing a stalemate or a plateau, I don't even like using the word because it's one of these words we've given this really odd power to. If you're experiencing a time where you're trying to alter your body and results have stalled, there's a reason.
Yeah, what is the root cause?
There's a solution.
Mm-hmm.
There's always a solution. You're not the only person in the world that just magically science doesn't work for you. It's just not true. There's always a solution, whether it be on the easy spectrum of things we'll go over today, or whether it be on the harder spectrum where there is something maybe, and I don't mean harder, I just mean a little bit more challenging to resolve, that you need some medical assistance. And I've also been there, so I understand. And I'm not talking about weight loss drugs. I'm talking about, healing your body properly so it can let go of excess body fat. Your body doesn't want to hold on to excess body fat. Your body does not want to be overweight. You're not damned. You're not bad. You're not whatever. There's always a solution. So when you're panicking, when you're freaking out, when you're blaming everything from your genetics to your co-workers to the just this doesn't work, my life, my body, I've never let it all go and just focus back on working with someone that has an outside perspective that can say, here's where the problem is. And that's what I think is so valuable about me still being able to do check-ins with our clients when they're at these points where, and we're all guilty of it, we're all so inside our lives that we have blind spots. And that's not a bad thing, but they can have negative ramifications. So if you're humble enough to get help and, work with someone and say, look, I've got blinders. I don't know what's going on here. And if you can be honest in working with someone, you can get to the end result and to the solution so much faster. And 99.9% of the time when people are honest clients that I'm working with, they'll send me what I ask them for. I'll tell them where the red flags are. They'll email me back and say, didn't even think of it.
Yeah. Had
totally snuck by. Just got in my blind spot.
Absolutely. Didn't think of that.
And there's no reason to feel bad about that. There's no reason to apologize for that. That's why we're working together. I'm the expert in this field. You're the person trying to get to a certain destination. And I'm getting you there. End of story.
Yeah, I mean, it's like anything. You want to turn to the experts for the guidance.
But with things like plateaus, egos come up.
Oh, big time.
It's where the ego comes up the most. It's where I get the most, this is why I'm going to fail. This is why I always stop losing weight at this point. I never get past this point. This happens. I sabotage myself. My great-grandmother down from my whatever is never lost. Nobody cares. Mm-hmm. None of this is true. These are all stories you tell yourself to keep yourself in this current situation so that change doesn't happen, and maybe you're scared of being great. Who knows what it is, but let's just put down the defenses doesn't mean you ignore those things that come up. You say them. But then when I come back at you with, none of these are true, instead of getting angry, be like, maybe they're not.
Yeah,
if you let it in that consideration, that this time is different, and you delete the past experiences, and you go into tomorrow with a, maybe the world is for me, you know? Maybe great things are going to happen. Maybe I'm completely supported. Maybe I've just been doing things wrong, and I'm just going to hang in here until things go right, and great things are going to happen. That's when your world changes.
I remember the first time I thought that thought, and it was like a weight. It was like a weight lifted seriously, and this sounds foolish.
No.
To me it does, but that was revolutionary for me to think, oh, the world is for me.
It's game changing, because we all get in these little self-made prisons. Like, I just used to believe that I could never have the business I wanted, the physical health I wanted, the male, the relationship I wanted, the friendships I wanted, the lifestyle I wanted, the body I wanted, the, just the mindset that I wanted. I thought I couldn't have any of that because it's not what I was born into. No one I knew had it. So why would I get it? And it broke my brain when I had the realization that I can have and be and do whatever I want, and there doesn't have to be an example for it. And if I need an example, I just have to reach outside and look at different situations. But at the end of the day, it's up to me.
Yeah, I mean, I was the opposite. I thought I could have it all. I thought I could have everything in life I wanted, but I was going to have to punish myself to get it.
Yeah, but
the sacrifice I would have to make to achieve the dreams that I wanted.
But also, you weren't in tune with what you really wanted. You were more of, you never really stopped to think, what do I want?
No, it's true.
It's like we do these things to ourselves.
But then you have that thought, oh, the world is for me. The things that are happening are supportive of my highest good. Talking about plateaus, that's a powerful statement. I mean, that's advanced.
Well, yeah, because, we really, especially as women, we start to think like, oh, those are like the beautiful people over there that were born this way.
I've reached my peak. This is where I stay.
Yeah. And this is as good as it will ever get for me. It's true if you're not going to change your thoughts, your actions, and your belief systems, then yes.
Oh, absolutely. Let's talk about some of them.
So, the two different types of plateaus. The easiest one to resolve, and I say easy as in, it's just really for easy if you're working with someone like me, for me to see, is obviously just the food, exercise, sleep.
The physical side of things.
The physical side of things. There are times in weight loss that you have to work a little harder. You have to kick your body into high gear. You have to make certain sacrifices to get to a certain place. Just like if you're working a job and you want to make a certain amount of money, and you got to work a little harder, spend a little less, save a little more. None of these things are rocket science, but we forget them. And we get tricked, into thinking that we don't have to work for them. Hard work is a thing. Yeah. Even, if you're blissed out, life is, amazing, green juice beaches, we're still working our butts off.
That's where your mind goes when you're thinking. It's always green juice beaches.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, I do.
Because we're all chasing that fantasy of that freedom. Mm-hmm. But freedom comes from hard work. Putting your head down and making it happen. So, with the best advice I could give with exercise, nutrition, lifestyle is humbly work with somebody that knows what they're talking about. And I always recommend working with an expert that's actually been there. Because if you're working with someone, that's an 18-year-old that, just had abs but now has a little more defined abs, or if you're working with someone that just went to school forever but never transformed their body, has the book smarts but doesn't have the actual application, there's pieces missing. You need to work with someone that actually gets it on a fundamental level. So I really recommend that. Because with eating, there are things, just small things that can be shifted that can change everything.
It's so true.
And with lifestyle, there are small things that can be shifted that can change everything. With my own eating, there are certain steps. I got to a certain place for so long in a certain way, and then there were just a couple key shifts I made that just broke me free into exactly where I wanted to be.
With eating?
Eating, exercise, and lifestyle. And those are, we don't have time to go into the full what our program is.
All of a sudden it just clicked.
Well, I also surrendered to I'm going to do this for as long as it takes.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, that's an important piece.
Because putting deadlines on yourself, like I want to be this weight, like setting up a small goals or overall goals is great, but I always say don't be attached to them. Mm-hmm. So say you want to lose 20 pounds in 12 weeks.
It's fluid.
It's great, but I always put it out there with this or better. And better not meaning more off the scale. Better meaning this or the highest good of outcome.
Yeah,
so
maybe I gained a little bit of muscle and maybe it had some body composition change.
Maybe you actually only lose 12 to 15 pounds on the scale, but your body looks completely different and you're down 5, 6, 7 sizes. I've had women in my clientele that have only shifted on the scale 5 pounds and have dropped 10 sizes. And they go from unrecognizable. It's a miracle. So you put these things out there as healthy goals and you're not scared of them. Take away the power the scale has. We use that as a tool. Once the tool stops working, we stop using it. Mm-hmm. Certain things like that. But so we have just real things that a lot of us have blinders about. Food sneak in. Yeah. Small amount of things can throw off people hormonally and end results. And you need to just surrender to whatever the process is to see what happens to get things done. So working with someone from an outside source that can review everything you do and being completely honest with what you're doing. Because if you're hiding foods or hiding what you're doing, the only person you're cheating is yourself. And nobody's winning. It's not a time for that. And if you're working with the right person, and especially if they've been there, they'll never judge you. Like I say, people will email me all the time and be like, I'm so embarrassed to say, and then say whatever, and I'll be like, there's nothing you could say to me that I haven't done myself. There's nothing. There's nothing. There's no reason to ever be embarrassed with me because
for sure.
I've been there.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I get it.
Most definitely.
So,
yeah, it's a safe place.
It's and
it's the same thing in my office, and people tell me all the time, and I'm not trying to do anything special.
No.
People just come up to me after a few visits and say, "Listen, I feel like I can share with you the things that are actually going on."
Right.
And normally people wouldn't say that, even if they felt it.
Right.
But for some reason, people feel like they can share it
because we've both worked really hard at being guides. And if you're going to be a guide, if you're going to be a Sherpa for people in life, there's just no room for any amount of judgment. Plus we've been through a lot. We're very old souls. So, it's like, what are they going to say?
Yeah, for sure.
I can't imagine. So there's that side of things. And in that, the highest good you can do for yourself is work with someone that clicks with you on that level. And be ready to go there.
I agree. I'd like to organize the physical ones in my brain and for everyone else. Number 1, you mentioned this, the sneaky return of bad habits.
So it's not just the sneaky return of bad habits. Sometimes this is why I can't really go far into it. This is why in
foods
programs,
though, you mentioned sneaky foods. This thing happens.
There's slow habits that creep back in for sure. That's one of them. And it can be detrimental, adding too much fats into things. And you think, it's just a handful there, it's a handful there. A handful can be up to 300 calories, and that's enough to keep a pound on a week.
Absolutely.
Easy.
In the summertime, there's more family events.
More alcohol. These
things, they get sneaky, and you think, oh, gosh, I'm really in a plateau here. The scale hasn't changed. Well, sometimes it's helpful to have someone on your team who can look at your lifestyle and say, okay, this has changed.
Yeah.
Right? So you don't have to do it yourself.
And things like, expanding treats to too often. And there are times...
Too big.
Too big. And sometimes you have to cut them out for a few weeks
mm-hmm.
to get yourself back on track. the other side of things, then your workouts. No matter what workout you're doing, if you can say it's too easy, unless you're doing something silly. But if you're doing an actual workout, and I don't care if it's speed walking, if you say it's too easy, then you're not bringing enough to it. End of story. No matter what a workout is, it's what you bring to it. So if you're just going through things and lifting really light and, there's no mind to muscle engagement, you're not sweating, you're not, feeling in that exercise, really trying, getting out of breath, concentrating, sweating, then it's what you're bringing to the workout that needs to change, not the workout necessarily.
Especially if you're dealing with something like muscle memory, where you're going through a workout you've done many times before, all of a sudden it starts to feel easier. Well, you're probably using the same weights you had before, probably doing the same level on the treadmill, you're probably doing the same thing, but
and shut your brain off.
Now you're more fit.
And you shut your brain off. Mm-hmm. Because if you connect your mind to your muscle and really give it your all, you can make any workout a challenge. I practice this especially when we go camping or traveling, because all I can bring is my workout bands. And my workout bands obviously are not as heavy as my actual weights.
You don't have ones that are tight enough that put the pounds of pressure that would be equal to the weights.
At all. So, it's up to me to use those bands in a specific way. I'll use them in slower reps. I'll do more reps. But I really concentrate mind to muscle, and I get killer workouts. I mean, there's been times when we've been on the road for months at a time. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you've returned home fitter than you were before.
So it's what you bring to the workout. So having someone on the outside say, this is how you can kick this up, this is how you can make this more intense, here's where we're being a little more lax, let's do this. And it's amazing what just shifting, 10 minutes of a workout for some people can do.
Mm-hmm. It's true. The second category of physical, potential physical
that's the second. Third.
Oh, sorry, third is exhaustion/burnout.
Yeah.
If you're giving it, and life is becoming too much, we're going to talk about stress and all these things later, but if physically, either maybe you're dealing with a cold or a flu, or you've just pushed it to the point where you don't have enough nutrient dense foods, you can't get the requirements you need to heal, you might experience exhaustion, and it might turn into cortisol burnout if you're also stressed and if you're not getting enough sleep. But this causes a plateau, because then you can't do the same thing you're doing before. You need to have a period of reset. And the point about this one is there's nothing wrong with this.
No.
It's just your body telling you, okay, it's time for a break. This is not a race.
I also want to say, though, that you have to work with someone in this arena too, because I've seen the two sides of things. I've been seen the people that are in clear burnout that need to rest and relax, that can't acknowledge it, won't admit it, refuse to see it, and then just try to work harder. Mm-hmm. And then there's people that just work out really hard for 10 to 15 days in a row. They're exhausted. They're emotional because they're detoxing off crap food. Their emotions are high. They're sore. They're tired. And they're like, I'm burnt out. I need 2 weeks rest. It's like, no, you just got started and it's hard.
Yeah, this is a foreign feeling.
Yeah. And I get it.
This is what it feels like.
That's what it feels like when you're detoxing and resetting and turning the literal ship around. Mm-hmm. So you have to work with someone to help you decipher, are you being too gentle on yourself, or are you being too hard on yourself? Now, I ran into the category where I went into the nosedived into burnout. Mm-hmm. But for me, the fix was pretty simple. I just had to sleep more, create some boundaries around work, be a little more gentle with myself.
At the same time, the nutrition and the workouts were able to stay the same. After a few days of rest and recovery, you create the boundaries depending on your type of situation. And then you're back on program. Maybe the first few workouts aren't as intense.
Yeah, because people start to think working out is bad against stress and healing. And the best thing you can do for yourself is eat healthy on the program and do workouts every day. Mm-hmm. Your body wants to work out. A body in motion stays in motion. End of story. So sometimes there are times where people have to kick back the intensity. And there's nothing wrong with that. But you never just stop working out. No. Unless you're obviously very injured and you have to lay in bed and heal or whatever. I'm not talking to those people.
That's another type of plateau, is having an injury. And this brings us back to that word surrender.
Right.
When you're dealing with an injury, we get emails all the time from people in the program who have been previously injured and would like to join, or have joined and in their life have suffered some sort of sickness or injury. And it's always the same thing. It's a surrender to the situation. Here's how you heal.
Right, and it's just because you can't do a certain level of workout or you can't work out at all, it doesn't mean then you just sit on the couch and eat crap. Right. One of the best transformations and one of the most inspiring people I ever worked with was a girl that came to me after she had a stroke in her early 20s.
Right.
And we worked together and we followed the program solely with just her doing daily walks and just eating on the program because that's all she could do. And it was actually recommended by her doctors for healing.
Right.
And she's one of the most dramatic physical transformations that I've seen in a long time.
Oh, exactly, because it is mostly about nutrition, and she was able to apply that in a way that was
and she understood awesome. This is what I can do. She was an athlete before, so it was really hard for her. Mm-hmm. But you can't feel bad for yourself. You have to feel bad for yourself, have a good cry, then get up and over it and say, okay, these are the cards I have. This is what I'm going to do.
Right.
Because there's always a solution. This is where it comes back to, no one, people will try to come to me, but you don't get it. I have this problem and that problem. That's okay. That's okay. It sucks.
Yeah.
It really sucks, but there's always a solution.
There is.
The only way you're going to prevent yourself from being healthy, happy, fit is if you stand in the way. You're the only barrier. It doesn't matter who your friends are, your family are, how sucky your husband is, how hard your life is and your job. None of it matters. You're the gatekeeper. And if you can get to that place of personal power, you've already won. You've already achieved your goals. Mm-hmm. You're already there. You got to put in the time.
Yeah, and you need to do what works for you. Louise Hay is all about mirror work when it comes to personal power.
Right.
Other people are about mantras.
Other people are about journaling.
Come on.
People I know.
Journaling, drink water, eat veggies. Hashtag Amy Lane.
When I was, anytime I'm slipping, I go back to journal. I journal anyway.
That is what brings you back on track.
I just affirm it in my journal. I let it go, and then I'm like, life is for me. Why wouldn't?
And for those sneaky guys, that's helpful because then you can journal. What am I doing now?
Right.
How does it look differently from 3 weeks ago?
And you don't beat yourself up. You forgive yourself for being completely human, and then you let it go. But then you make the changes. You don't stop there.
Mm-hmm. It's true. Mm. On the final note for these physical types of potential plateaus, we want to talk about the myth about storage mode, or when the metabolism shuts down, or I'm doing the same thing I'm doing. Why am I not getting the same results? Why am I not still getting my 2 pounds per week? What has changed physically? Okay, there's a few different examples here. Number one, storage mode is just a term for your body's not optimized. Yeah. If you're not eating food at all, then there's potential for thyroid hormone disruption, potential female hormone disruption, potential lack of nutrients to build muscle and create metabolism within the muscle for glucose uptake and all these things. If you're not eating at all, there's potential that it could be hurting your weight loss results.
Absolutely.
We've seen that multiple times.
And I just want to clarify and say one more time, because for some reason this is not out there. With all hormonal disruption, we'll say problems, where, medication may be indicated. People will come to me like, well, I have this thyroid or PCOS or, whatever. All these things. Along with whatever treatment your physician has you doing, the baseline for healing, the baseline for results, the baseline for feeling better, the baseline for optimizing your body is eating healthy consistently and working out and living the lifestyle that we promote. So you don't come in with, I'm not going to change because I have this monkey on my back. It's you have this monkey on your back and you're going to make it better.
Exactly. And in this for example, hypothyroidism example, being on thyroid medication like desiccated or Synthroid while you're doing a extremely healthy program just makes things work so much better. It's the same thing with bioidenticals and perimenopause and postmenopause. People who are doing bioidenticals, if your lifestyle is still crap, you're still not going to lose weight. It doesn't matter if you're taking progesterone or estrogen.
And that's like, if you've been given the diagnosis with PCOS, which seems to come up a lot, the best thing you can do is be on this program.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. For the blood sugar control, especially in PCOS. My gosh, it's extremely helpful. So we're talking a holistic approach here, and we harp on this.
Yeah.
It's extremely important. The second part about this potential storage mode, quote unquote, that we talk about is your body getting used to the workouts you're doing. We're huge proponents of switching up your workouts. It's just beneficial. And the reason it's beneficial is because it challenges you without you having to do conscious work. Sometimes it takes conscious work if you're on the elliptical or on the treadmill and, okay, I need to start pushing it. I need to turn up the level. You have to have that conscious thought.
You know if you're not really trying. You know if you're phoning it in.
Whereas you don't have to really think about it if you have, 2 or 3 days a week where you have these functional workouts.
And you have to learn. People get frustrated all the time. They'll email me and be like, well, I've never done workouts like this and I have to keep reading and I'm just so frustrated and blah, blah, blah.
Get it.
No, but it's not just that. It's like, it makes me smile because I know you're engaged.
Yes.
I know you're trying. And when you're in that place where you're thrown off and you're learning something new and you're ticked off at me for trying to teach you something new, I know I'm taking you to somewhere good. So be pissed off if you want. Have fun.
Absolutely.
And let's go where you need to go. It's just your ego trying to keep you small.
The worst part about this is when I've been doing so much Zumba. I've been doing Zumba 3 times a week for 10 years and have not lost any weight, Amy. What's going on here?
Anyone that starts with I've been doing whatever amount of workouts for so many years, I love them, can I keep doing them? I've never got to where I wanted to be.
Oh, and I completely get it because certain workouts feel so good. And I've been in this situation, don't get me wrong. I have things that I like to do that don't contribute positively to my physical self.
Yeah, but that's fine.
Mentally, extremely helpful. But
that means that you can do those things for fun and for social, and there's no limit on the amount of working out you can do. But if you've never got to where you want to be,
by doing this thing, keep this thing in, but you're going to have to do other things.
If you want to.
Yeah.
Or just dive in and shake it up.
Yeah. So alternating your workouts is extremely important, especially if you're just not seeing any results, or maybe you have seen results and things have slowed down, then there's some simple shifts. The number one, we talk about it all the time, body weight workouts. Body weight workouts are excellent.
Yeah.
This has been the potential physical plateaus that can be extremely frustrating when you're on a weight loss journey.
Yeah.
It's part 1 of a 2-part episode. Next time we're going to be talking about mental emotional plateaus. It's things we've covered before, some new things we're going to be talking about, some examples from our personal life, and we'll put that together for part 2.
Great.
That's Healthy Rebel Radio for today. Thank you so much for listening and have a great day.
See you.
Healthy Rebel Radio is presented by the online health and wellness center, DamiHealth.com. Since 2009, Amy Lane has successfully coached thousands of women through her signature program, the Bikini Body Program. Join today to work exclusively with Amy to unveil your greatest yet to be from the inside out. Go to DamiHealth.com for more information.
Thank you for listening to Healthy Rebel Radio. Please connect with us on our community pages on Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram, all at the handle @DamiHealth. For weekly recipes, articles, and all our episodes straight to your inbox, join our newsletter at DamiHealth.com. You can find all the links discussed in today's episode in the show notes. Thank you for joining us and see you tomorrow.